パンにはジャム塗って食うらしいぜ。まあ俺たちは普通なんて夢の話だけど。
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. For those who don't know me, I'm Andrew, and today we're gonna be talking about Chainsaw Man. Because I decided to read again the first part of the manga, and by the first part I obviously mean the first 11 volumes, and I thought there were a few thoughts of mine I wanted to share about it. Fujimoto's manga is probably one of the most successful of the recent years, one of the best hits Shonen Jump has turned out lately. Why? Because it's simply over the top in everything it does. In the references, in the fights, in the rawness of the violence, in the designs. I could keep on going, but I guess you got the message. Before we move on, I must obviously say that this video contains major spoilers for the first part of the manga, so keep watching all if you got by the end of the first saga. As every manga published on Shonen Jump, Chainsaw Man starts ex abrupto. We know really nothing about the initial settings in terms of space and time, until Denji is brought by Makima to Tokyo to work in the public safety, a government-licensed organization that hunts devils. And guess what? We know nothing about when and how devils came into contact with humanity, so we just have to take for granted that they exist, and that's all. Then, if we think about the characters, Chainsaw Man has the stereotypical synopsis of a Shonen Jump manga. A trio formed by the protagonist and a couple of sidekicks. Sounds familiar? A sort of unreachable crush, evil creatures to fight, and superpowers. Really simple and overused stuff, you might say. Except Chainsaw Man is everything but that. So, what does the story want to tell? What is it about? Why is it so different from your normal shonen manga? Well, let's start going through some of the characters to understand something about it. Let's start with Denji, the protagonist of the story. First of all, a little curiosity about the name. Fujimoto revealed it comes from a mix of Tenshi, meaning angel, and Denshi, meaning battery. Angel, because he's a devil hunter, and angels obviously tend to fight demons. Battery, because he transforms into a chainsaw, so he has electromagnetic related powers, I guess. Denji from the outside might seem like a very common anime and manga trope. The chaotic and clueless kid gifted with incredible superpowers and so on. But he's like that only on the surface. Denji is solitary, he has no friends except Pachita, and since his father died, he's completely alone. When Denji joins the public safety department, he feels like he's in heaven. Simple things like a good meal, a safe place where to sleep, is stuff he doesn't take for granted. He's never had somebody who really took care of him, so he distortedly perceives the attention and care Makima offers him as love. Love by her for him, and love by him for her. Behind every simple and genuine desire he expresses towards her, and generally towards the other feminine characters in the early stages of the story, there's not only the representation of a common sexual drive of a teenager. In fact, there's a deeply hidden desire to be understood, a desire for appreciation, genuine love that he's never experienced in his lifetime. Denji is broken, traumatized, helpless. That's why he feels like the life he's living now is the best he could hope for. He's never read anything. How could he possibly even think about something more? So, between one Tarantinesque violent fight and the other, Denji starts getting along well with Power and Aki, and they sort of become his family, more than simply his friends. And by the way, the aesthetics of the manga are incredible. The average panel might also feel sort of empty, lacking in details. But when it comes to fights and complex scenes, this manga apparently turns into berserk. The turning point of Denji's characterization is the moment he meets Reze. Reze represents his first genuine love interest, and that makes him confused. He questions his love for Makima, as he feels it is something different compared to his feelings and behavior towards Reze. And although in the end it might seem like she just tried to use Denji for a mission, and getting in touch with him was only a way of stealing Chainsaw Man's heart, Reze in the end feels genuine love and sympathy for Denji. She offers him to run away together, to escape and take care of each other, but Denji refuses. Denji lives in a beautiful aquarium, and he doesn't feel ready for the sea. The life he's experiencing now is pleasing, way more than anything he's ever experienced since he was a child, and he's not ready to change it. Anyways, as I was saying, Denji chooses comfort. Freedom scares him. He prefers living in the bubble that's been created around him rather than escaping to the unknown, even though, probably, he would still want Reze to be around. Aesop's fable, mentioned in the manga itself, pretty much explains it all. Denji wants tranquility and no more risks than what he already has to deal with. On the other end, there's power and Aki. Even rereading the manga, I find it difficult to describe power. I mean, she's pure chaos, got kind of a cool backstory, a cool design, but I don't think I've figured her out yet. And then there's Aki. The new copy of Sasuke, you could think. And I mean, yeah, maybe, especially from the looks, but there's more. Anyway, Fujimoto wants to make clear that, except for Denji, at the moment nobody has any sort of plot armor. Characters like Aki and Power can die as well as any other. Aki's storyline obviously peaks after he's possessed by the Gun-Devil, and is forced unawarely to fight against Denji. And man, the parallel with the snowball fight is heartbreaking. Really one of the coolest scenes of the first part. And talking about some of the coolest scenes, obviously the L scenes are in there as well. Many details, many original ideas. Once again, I love the aesthetics of this manga. I guess you get it by now. And maybe they would deserve a video themselves. But still, I haven't explained the point of the story. So what is Chainsaw Man really about? Chainsaw Man is about dreams. You know, there's a moment when, in Attack on Titan, Kenny Ackerman, while talking to Levi, says that everyone is mad had to be drunk on something, to be slave of some belief to keep on going in their lives. And I think that the sentence is pretty much fitting in this case. In Chainsaw Man, all the main characters are consistently, sometimes desperately, drunk on something. They dream that something. They yearn for that something. They use everything at their disposal in an attempt to reach it. Aki's dream is revenge, for himself and his family, and he tries to vent his desire for revenge through devil hunting. He's willing to accept any sort of pact with the devils in order to become stronger and fight. Accepting even to shorten his own life, if that means succeeding. Reze's dream is running away, from everything and everyone, from the life she's lived till the moment she meets Denji, and that's why she starts feeling sympathy, I guess, for him. Then Denji and Makima's dreams. Denji wants affection, approval, a family, and expresses all of that through much more concrete physical desires. Denji loves his new life, but ends up hating the difficulties and the responsibilities that come from his new freedom. He asks Makima to take decisions instead of him because he's tired of the outer world. He doesn't want to choose for himself. Makima, on the other end, as the control devil, wants to be in charge of everything and everyone. She wishes she could use Pochita's powers, which are not only to transform Denji into a living chainsaw, but also to wipe out the embodied concept of a devil through consuming them, to create a new world, freed of fear and death. And I don't know if it's intentional, but this would be a very funny Joker reference, an internal Joker reference. The 10th volume of the series is in Japanese named Inu no Kimochi, which means approximately something like the feelings of a dog. Now, that might be it, but since Kimochi is formed by ideograms that mean heart and mind, in the Italian version the title has been turned into Cuore di Cane, which is the adaptation of Bulgakov's Art of a Dog. In this novella, Bulgakov makes a satire about the Soviet Union in the moment the NEP is introduced, trying to communicate the impossibility of recreating a society from zero. And that's just what we said Makima intended to do. So that would be a very clever inside joke. Speculations aside, all in the end, Pochita, when she's already been defeated and the control devil has reincarnated into Nayuta, reveals that he's seen a real dream, a family. Makima's always longed for the only thing she couldn't achieve as the controlled evil, an equal relationship. So Chainsaw Man makes us question our choices. What do we want from life? What do we choose? What are we willing to sacrifice just to fulfill our ambitions? The answer is obviously left to the reader, as it should be. Chainsaw Man is amazing in the characterization and in the evolution of its protagonists. And I'm sure he has still a lot to tell with this story that I fell in love with in the moment I first read it. I think there would be still so many things to talk about, especially covering the second part, or saga as you prefer, of the manga. Anyway, as always, Mappa did a great job with the anime, so give it a look. Now, the video is over, and I hope you enjoyed it. I also hope that you will come back to the channel soon, when I publish a new one. And by the way, if you're feeling bored at the moment, you can check the previous videos of the channel. I promise you won't regret it. By the way, for this one, that's all. See you soon.